Hey guys, it's your girl Zama Matungandaba, also known as Maddy T, and I'm back for another episode. Skitty! Let's go. All right, cool. Guys, so today's topic I felt was very necessary because of what is going on in the state of our economy in South Africa. So this podcast is obviously, I'm from South Africa. I'm shooting in South Africa. So I've got a South African context. However, if you're in America, Nigeria, wherever you are, Zambia, you would be able to relate with some of this content. But today's topic that I have for you is my tips. Again, I'm starting you guys off with tips for entering your boss mode era. So these are my top 10 tips for entering your boss mode era. So before we get into it, as I was saying, guys, essentially, what is the whole idea, or why am I coming to you guys with this particular topic? So I find that a lot of people that I've come across in my career working, a lot of people have said to me they want to start a business. They want to be independent. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be on their own. But I find that a lot of people are very scared or afraid, and in some way or the other are holding themselves back. Even myself, I was there too. So holding yourself back in terms of various things that I've identified. I'm going to just list what I've identified. One of the things I've identified is a perfectionism paralysis. So I know I've been guilty of that. If you want something to be so perfect, you have an idea, you have this business idea, but it needs to be done in this methodical way, in this exact way. And if it's not that way, you're not going to do it. So that's one way that people are holding themselves back, through this perfectionism paralysis. Secondly, a lack of exposure. So people not making an effort to actually expose themselves to opportunities, situations, or not even making themselves, but being unable to. Sometimes you're in a situation, you're in a scenario where you really are just someone who unfortunately does not have exposure. But I want to focus more on people not actually putting themselves in that position, because we live in the age of technology, of internet. There's internet cafes, even if you don't have a computer at your house, So there's really a certain way that we can all go out there and actually get information and, disseminate information to others. Another reason that I see people holding themselves back or pulling away from starting their own business is a lack of funding. So that's a really big one, where people say, okay, I really don't have money to start this venture or to launch this product, the way that I see. And fourth, I also notice a lack of confidence. So a lot of the times people don't believe in themselves, and I know that on Earth, the way that Earth and our society is designed, that the matrix is designed, is to definitely break down your confidence. That is what the matrix is about. Don't get me started. We're still going to get into it. That is what the matrix is about, breaking your confidence, making you feel like you do not have an option. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people do not have confidence in themselves because of the social conditioning that we have about some of the things that we see on TV. It's distraction, distorted, some of the things that we come across that make you feel that your dreams are too big, or that you really don't, you wouldn't be able to achieve this. So that lack of confidence. So I want to also highlight, so these are what's blocking people from actually starting their businesses. But now I want to talk about the business case for you to please get off of your high horse and start your business. We need you. There is a need. In South Africa, we have a super high unemployment rate. And this unemployment rate is, the last time I checked, about 60 or 67% for youth unemployment, right? So youth is firstly one of the biggest population groups, people under the age of 35 in South Africa and in Africa. So Africa is the second youngest continent, right? So if, for example, in South Africa, your majority of your population being youth is not working, I mean, what is that going to say to the economy? You're unemployed. What is that going to do to the economy? So the unemployment rate is very high. Now let's talk about, how do we reduce the unemployment rate? The way that we reduce the unemployment rate is by actually having businesses. I want to talk about the South African context, just to give people a little bit of nuggets to say, in South Africa, guys, we have a history of apartheid. We have a history where the majority of the Black South Africans in this country do not have access to opportunities. The majority of Black people in this country are doing were doing unskilled labor, miners, cleaners, bunch of education. I mean, no, not hating on miners and cleaners, but you understand what I mean, right? And what this has done also in South Africa is that our economy, the way that our economy was built, it was built for the minority. It was built for the minority, white South Africans, who were the ones that had all the fancy office jobs, right? Who were working for the government at the time, working as lawyers, got to go to school, all those things. So just having an understanding of how this economy was built. As a result, there is really not enough jobs for everyone. There really is not enough for everyone, right? Especially because we are not coming up and creating jobs. That is what we are charged with. That is what you're basically going to do as an entrepreneur. You are going to create opportunities. You're going to create jobs. And that is why you are needed. You are needed to drive innovation in the country. Come to us with your new ideas, us being the public. Come to us with new ideas, new innovations, new products, that you are going to launch and that you are going to add value into the economy. We need you. So we need more entrepreneurs. We need young entrepreneurs. We have problems to solve. The economy, there's a lot of things going on just from a socio-economic perspective, social ills, in this country. So we need young entrepreneurs to come out of their shells, believe in themselves, and start those businesses. So without, further ado, I'm going to tell you a little bit about stepping into your boss mode era. Now, I just want to give you a little bit, just like a couple minutes about my personal story in terms of stepping into boss mode, right? So, as I mentioned, you guys may have known that I did a BCom and I did an LLB, and then I went on to do my articles as well. So I'm a qualified attorney, notary, and conveyancer. At the end of my articles, I actually opened my own law firm in partnership with my mom, who was retired at the time, and she is an attorney herself. We opened up our own law firm in January 2020, and then April 2020, there was COVID. So there was COVID, and then in November 2020, I said to myself, okay, lockdown, I have no clients, there's no work coming in. I'm a newly qualified attorney, I'm so new, like a novice almost. And I decided to just gain a little bit more experience, and also because there was no work coming in. So I went back into the formal labor market. Got another job after that, And eventually I said to myself, I'm done, and I left. But why I'm telling you guys this story is because the whole time that I'm going back into the formal labor market, did I close my law firm? Did I shut down the doors? No. I didn't say, okay, no, because now this is closing down. No, we left the structure open. And we continued. And I'm happy to say that today, about 4 years later, they say most businesses fail in their first 3 years or 5 years or whatever. It's not perfect. We still haven't started making profits, but there's improvement. There is a change, So I'm sharing my story with you guys to just help you understand maybe where I'm coming from and what kind of experiences I've had. So anyway, without wasting too much of your time, let's get into it. So how do you step into your boss mode era? Now, top 10 tips. Tip number 1, it's okay to have more than one business idea. So stepping into your boss mode era, please do not feel like you have to, if you are saying, I want to have a bag business, and then I also want to get into automobiles, and then also I want to start a restaurant, there's nothing wrong with you. It's okay. You are more than allowed to have more than one business idea, right? And how you launch them or how you roll them out is a different story, right? But please don't make anyone make you feel that you have to choose one thing, right? Because I, for example, am a multi-dimensional, multi-hyphenate, type of individual, right? I'm running a law firm. I have other businesses that we're still going to go into, right? They're not at the level which I would want them to be, but they are there and I'm pushing on them. So if you know that you're someone who wants to have more of a group structure, you have interest in trucks, you have interest in different things. So don't ever let people sort of, sideline you and say, no, you're thinking too big. You're allowed to have more than one business idea. Choose how you execute them. And actually, that's how things work, because you don't know which idea is going to land. So have the idea, pilot it. If it works, go on. If it doesn't work, you move on to what was going to work. So that's my first tip for you guys. My second tip for stepping into your boss mode era is using your job as a stepping stone. So for those of you who are lucky enough to actually have jobs, or, I'll say lucky, but you've worked hard, right? I say lucky because some people have really worked hard and have done everything, but they're still sitting at home unemployed, right? Because like I said, the economy just doesn't have enough jobs. So if you are lucky enough to have a job, but you still have the dream burning inside of you to become an entrepreneur, your own boss, use your job as a stepping stone, right? Don't go to your work and think, every day I'm here, I'm just wasting my time. No, you're earning a salary. By you earning a salary, you are able to fund your business, right? Because as a business owner, there is a lot of capital that you will be putting into your business yourself. Guys, even if we are talking about investors, even if you go to an investor and say, hey, I've got this wonderful product, I want you to invest in this product in my business, they are going to ask you, how much have you put in? How much of your own money have you used in this project? So that is what shows them and that you've got skin in the game, if I could put it that way, right? Most investors want to see what you've put into it, And I think that's another issue about the lack of funding, where people just expect people to fund their ideas literally from scratch. At least do a prototype, And that is what having a job can provide you with. You know that you can cover your bills at the end of the month, and then you can also use some of your salary to actually fund the growth of your business that you eventually want to go into as your full-time thing, or whether you want to still just keep it as your side gig or eventually sell it off, because you can also sell off a very successful and thriving business. So that leads me on to tip number 3 for entering your boss mode era, which is start building your business slowly on the side. So now this is to people who have jobs. And again, I would recommend get a job. So if you are an entrepreneur that's down and out, sitting in your basement, there's no money coming in, or get a job. Get a job. Whether you're waitressing, whether you're doing something, get a job so that you get paid to do something, even if it's not what you ideally want to get paid for, but you get some sort of income in so that you can start building your business slowly on the side. And yes, it will require sacrifice. I mean, you're working maybe 8 hours waitressing, and then you need to come back home and still build your business. But it's better because you have money coming in, right? So I would highly recommend that you start building your business slowly on the side, obviously coming from the perspective of having some sort of consistent income. So if you don't have some form of consistent income, please start trying to get that in whatever way that you can. It might not be the job that you like, but if it pays the bills and builds the business, then we accept that job. Number 4, my 4th tip for entering your boss mode era is save, save, save. So you need to save. Have a saving scheme, have an investment scheme. Just save, put money away. Okay, guys. So there's different ways of saving. People talk about, I don't know, 70, 30, 70, 20, 10, something like that. Like 70 goes to your, like day-to-day expenses, and then, like running your life, and then 20 goes to saving, and then 10% to entertainment. I think there's different ways that people chop it up, but essentially save, 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 right? So the one that I was, taught is to save 30% of your income. That's the one that I was taught. I don't know. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not, a licensed financial services provider. I'm just somebody who's lived life, done a bit of research, and I would say maybe that is a good place to start, trying to save 30% of your income, because you do have to live. So you have to put away money for your expenses, and obviously some money to entertain yourself and to take care of yourself. But the importance of saving. Why do I emphasize saving? Because that allows you the opportunity to have 1, runway, and 2, money for your business. So the first thing is runway, is that when you've now come to the decision that, you know what, this business is actually, I've built it up slowly, and I see we've got a consistent client base, and okay, cool, looks like okay. Or even if you don't have a consistent client base and you can feel that, you know what, if I applied myself to my business longer, I would be able to get it to a certain level. At least if you have savings, which is runway, then you can say to yourself, okay, with my runway, I can manage my expenses for the next 6 months. So you don't need to stay in that job that you hate any longer, because you've saved and you'd be able to run your expenses for 6 months at least, or even a year, right? And another point that I was mentioning is saving for the business. That's another thing that a lot of people don't talk about a lot, is that your business actually needs money. To grow your business, it needs money. To make money, you need money. So a business needs business cards. Sometimes you need to get web hosting. You need to get a website. You need to take pictures. You need to get banners. All of these things cost money, software. So think about those things and save towards those things. And that's, I guess, part of having a business plan. But really, the biggest thing is to save, 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 so that you don't blame a lack of funding for why you cannot at least move your business to a certain part or a certain point. Cool. And then my 5th tip for entering your boss mode era is to understand and prepare for turbulence. So what I mean by that is that a lot of the times we forget that, having a business is not like having a job. It is inconsistent. So some days you'll have these like 10 orders, some days you'll have no orders. Other days you'll have 50 orders, right? So you need to prepare yourself to get out of the mentality, especially if you've been working, because okay, when I work, I know at the end of the month, I'm going to get my $2,000. I'm good. I get that every month, I'm sorted. But once you start your business, 1 month you're going to get your $2,000. Next month you get nothing. And then the next month you get like 20 million, right? So you just have to understand that it is a turbulent environment, and you need to prepare yourself mentally for that, and how you're going to handle that basically perceived lack of stability, because, now you're not depending on someone to pay your salary every month, but now you have to make sure that you have something every month, and it's not that easy. So just prepare yourself mentally for that and see how you're going to handle that. So that's also being very, very big on your financial planning and planning for the future, before you make big decisions like leaving your job. All right. And my sixth tip for stepping into your boss mode era is to leverage your networks. So leverage your networks, meaning that we all know people. There was something that I heard or read, and I've seen now more than once, twice, thrice, where they say that there is a 6 degree of separation between everyone, basically. There's about 6 degrees of separation. And they're basically saying, if I want to speak to Cyril Ramaphosa, the President Cyril Ramaphosa, if I want to speak to him, there's just about 6 people away for me to get to Mr. Ramaphosa. And I mean, the more that I think about this, I think that it is very, very true. We are very connected as people. And, the power of actually going to the people that you know and saying to them, hey, my friend, I've started a business. They are your like your first customers, So leverage your networks. They are your first people that are able to critique your work and say, oh, we like this, or we don't like that, or, oh, I see you doing this. Let me link you with that person. So don't be afraid to leverage your networks. Guys, don't just be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just to, talk nonsense and just post like, I'm fabulous. Use the people there on your Instagram. Use the people there on your Twitter. Use the people on your Facebook, and leverage those networks. That is what influencers are doing. That is what a lot of people are doing. So you should do that too. And then my 7th tip for stepping into your boss mode era is leading on from my 6th one, which is network to the gods. Network to the gods, okay? So what I mean by network to the gods, and that's gods like GAWDS, gods. So obviously, I said leverage your networks in tip number 6, but now it's actually network to the gods, because sometimes you find yourself in a position where your networks are unleverageable to an extent, right? So sometimes it's not your market. You could find that the people that you are speaking to or that you're around, they are not the people that are your core audience, right? Because your business or your product does have an audience. It does have a target market. So if you find yourself not around the relevant people, or if you find yourself being unable to leverage your networks because people are not willing to help you or they are unable to help you, this is where networking to the gods comes in. And even if you leverage your networks, you should still network to the gods. So what this means is you should go out, you should go to conferences, you should go out to parties as well. You should go out to brunches, lunches. You should connect with people, And when I say parties, I don't mean a party up a storm, whatever, but that's where people connect, But obviously, from a business perspective, parties might not always be the best. You want to be in a situation, when I say party, could be a braai, Just in a situation where you can speak to someone or you can connect with people and see where that takes you. So you have to be someone who's also open to going to different types of, industry events. Like, for example, I'm a lawyer, but I don't limit my networking to law. I'm an artist. I was here at African Music Rising Conference just a couple of month ago here in Johannesburg. I network there. I network on the legal side. I network in industries that I'm not even a part of. I attended Africa Rail. I knew nothing about rail and transport, but now I see where I fit into that. So networking is very, very important for you to move your business forward. And then my 8th tip to enter your boss mode era is to leverage technology. So guys, I'm a big proponent of technology. I love technology. And I think that we need to get with it, right? AI, 7th industrial revolution, things are moving. So you really want to make sure that you're able to leverage technology in your business. One of the ways that I'm going to mention this, for example, is office space. So us at M&M Legal, the law firm that I founded with my mother, is we were a virtual office. We are a virtual office, because we want to make the delivery of legal services much easier to our clients through Zoom, through WhatsApp, through just being agile and efficient. So leverage technology. Who says you need a building? Yes, maybe eventually we're probably gonna need a building very soon, somewhere. But essentially we work from home. We work from our home where we live, and our office is virtual. If people want to meet up with us, we can go and link with them somewhere, either virtually or in person, or they can come and see us. But essentially, all I'm saying is, leverage those type of technologies like Zoom, Teams, digital cards. I mentioned that some of the times we spend money on printing business cards and printing flyers and things like that, but see how you can actually step more into the space of digital marketing. So having e-cards and actually, instead of printing posters, actually just having Instagram posts or Facebook posts. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with the tip of leveraging technology. Number 9, we're almost there, people. Number 9 of stepping into your boss mode era is block out the naysayers, guys. Look, if you are doing something transformational, if you are doing something unique and exciting, it's something that people have never seen before. Most of the time, people will be like, you crazy. Most of the time, people won't understand what it is that you are doing. It's like Einstein. Take Einstein. He was taken out of his school at grade 3 because the teacher said, this guy, he's not all right. He's not all right. That's Einstein, theory of relativity, Einstein. Look at him now. So all I'm trying to say to you guys is, when you are moving against the current, you'll have a lot of people in your ear saying, why are you doing that? Who are you thinking? Why are you thinking that? And you'll post things, you'll be putting yourself out there, and you'll be getting no reaction. You'll be getting no, engagement. Go on. You know what I'm saying? So block out the naysayers, because you're going to get a lot of backlash. You'll get a lot of rejections. There's a lot of like, no, sorry, we're closed. No, sorry, we closed. No, sorry, we closed. But for every door that closes, there is someone that is waiting to have it open for you. So block out the naysayers and keep on going in your journey. All right, guys. And my final tip to enter your boss mode era is try move in silence. That's the one I'm going to leave you guys with today, is that try move in silence, guys, because, when you loud about that, let your success do the talking. That's all I'm gonna say. Let your success do the talking. Don't be talking about, I'm about to launch this product. I'm about to launch this thing and launch it. Launch it. Don't be talking about, no, I'm about to, start doing this. Do it. Do it. Right? So less talking, more action. Move in silence. And that's what I mean by move in silence. Less talking, less telling people what you're about, and actually showing them what you're about. Because there's another saying that says, actions speak louder than words. So it's like, put your money where your mouth is. Less talking, more doing. Move in silence. In the words of Lil Wayne, real G's move in silence like lasagna. All right, guys. So I'm just going to close it off right here. Thank you so much for joining me on the second episode. And I just want to end it off with some closing nuggets to say, being your own boss is very, very rewarding. Don't let anyone lie to you. It is very rewarding being able to, kind of control your diary, decide, okay, where you're going to go today, allow yourself to pivot in different directions. However, it's not for everyone. And that's something that we need to, it's okay if you want to try it, you know what I mean? But being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. So I want to also say that be honest with yourself. So if you try entrepreneurship and you find that, this is actually not working for you, it's okay. Do not feel bad about it. Like, it's okay to say, I tried business, but it's actually too much for me. It's too many responsibilities. I'd rather just go back to working for someone. More than fine. And I also want to say that it's important for you to start small. Sometimes we want to focus on always, like, remember I mentioned earlier, that perfectionism paralysis. Sometimes we want things to be boom, amazing from day one, and we want to blow the lights out from day one. But that is against nature. Just like with us as human beings, you are born, you cannot even speak, can even do anything, and then you can talk, and then the next thing you're crawling, and then the next thing you're wobbling about, and then you walk, and then you run, and then you fly. So be patient with yourself, start small, and don't think that your business needs to be like doing the majors from the onset, right? And I also want to encourage everyone to embrace failure by failing forward. When I launched my fashion line in 2017, I launched it and it didn't really take off. But I failed forward, I failed forward in the sense that all that I learned from putting a fashion show together, putting the garments together, all that process, going to pick up fabrics, all that has obviously given me invaluable knowledge that I would be able to apply when I come back again in that particular venture. So I just want to encourage everyone to embrace failure. It's not about how many times you get knocked down, but it's about how you get up and how many times you get up. So embrace failure, because that is what actually makes you great. By making mistakes, learning from them, that's what's going to set you apart from people. So don't be scared of it. Don't not do things because you don't want to fail. Do them. Fail, learn from it, move on, try again. So from me, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again very soon for another episode of Maddy on Everything. Lots of love. For this episode, there'll be no music reviews and art reviews. There'll be no current affairs, but I got you. For the next episode, I promise I got you. It's all love.